July 13th, 2020 special board meeting for the purpose of doing board interviews for our vacancy. I believe it is the second district?
Yes.
Second district vacancy. So just to explain that process for those, this is also, so everyone knows this is being live streamed. Am I correct, Dr. Alnez?
You are correct.
Yeah, so everyone understands, these interviews are done in public. We'll have a series, we have 8 questions. We will ask each candidate. We did have 2 applicants for the position. Each will be asked the identical 8 questions. With the board here will rotate asking those questions. Take as much time to answer as you would like, elaborate as much as you would like. And we look forward to hearing from the 2 candidates as we do that. So I believe the first candidate scheduled is
Mr. Falk.
Mr. Falk?
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Falk, if you would please come down to the table here. I know Mrs. Langren has sanitized it already for you, so it should be good to go. Welcome.
Thank you.
If you could, you come up there, make sure you speak into the microphone so everyone here and at home can hear you. And we'll start over here with Trustee Williams, and we'll just work our way down and rotate through that way. So Trustee Williams, if you'd like to get us started.
That's Mr. Falk. Thank you for being here. What do you see as the board's role in the day-to-day operation of the schools?
The board is an oversight, and they set policy. And as far as on the day-to-day operation, the day-to-day operation is primarily done by the superintendent. And so setting up as far as on a daily operation, that's not the board's responsibility if I understand it properly. I mean, I could be wrong. I haven't been on this board. But in the board something that's associated with, we have the oversight, we set policy, and I would expect that to be the same type of thing. So I would expect that there would be meetings that we would need to be participating in order to find out the better information, and being able to disseminate that information amongst the board, and also work with the superintendent and other officials that are involved.
Can you tell something about that PTS does particularly well and something PTS needs to improve on in your opinion?
One of the things I think the board, that PTS does extremely well is the broad range of what they are doing out there with the students, for the students. And I would use my own kids as an example of that. My oldest daughter, who graduated very near to the top of her class, she started her residency last week at Rush Hospital up in Chicago. She's an OBGYN doctor. I graduated in 2007 from Portage High School. And the education she got here at Portage was extremely good. I mean, it gave her a broad base that she was able to go through. In fact, she came out of school not knowing which direction she wanted to go because she had such success here in all sorts of things. The other example is my son, who came through, also graduated with honors in the technical end of the school. He participated in that, and he is currently negotiating. He works in the trades, and he came out very well prepared for that. Because of the background that he received in the school system, he was able to get on with various construction companies. He's currently a member. He's currently a member of the Finishers Union, but right now he's in negotiation. One of his lifelong dreams is to become a farmer. He was the first kid from Portage to receive it. I think it was Future Farmers of America scholarship in like 20-some years. He's in no negotiation right now to buy a 60-acre farm. And just I get extremely proud of that, of both of them. Just in the background that they did, that they received here at the school, and the wide range of the opportunity that was there. I think Portage does an excellent job on that. And it's something that I want to continue and really work on because of the opportunities that I've seen that have occurred with that. As far as on what Portage doesn't do well, Uh, that's a more difficult one.
That's good.
It really is, because, I have a lot of insight because my wife is a teacher in the system. And so I get back from her a lot of the things that are going on. And I'm gonna loosen this just a little bit, because my lips keep getting caught up on the backside. Hurting. What would I say to you? Right off the top of my head, other than when I went to the site to see about the advertisement for that was listed, that's the only thing I can think of right off the top of my head, was that the, notice of support wasn't on the website. And that's really, right now, what I comes to mind.
Okay.
And, I'm sure I'll find out more if I get onto the board of things that we might need to work on. But, speaking from the experience of having my kids in the school, my wife being a graduate of the school, I'm very happy with the Portage school system.
Great, thank you.
So my question is, what do you see as the primary role of the board?
The primary role of the board to me is one, we go, we do a lot of the background work, and we can do a lot of the research that is going to be required for the school system to coming up with different ideas that are out there. The board presents typically a different perspective than most administrators. I mean, yes, we do have people on the board that are school people, that are in education, but with the different backgrounds you get from the different members on the board, they bring a different perspective, and they can see things in a different way, whether it be Troy's background in law enforcement, your background in community and government. All of that works in order to help bring more information into the school system that might not be there. And I really, it's that research and that knowing, going deeper into things that I think benefits a lot that's out there. And it's also a nice oversight. The board provides an oversight overall that, it's like, well, my wife and I we don't always necessarily agree on everything. And every once in a while, I get really enthusiastic about something. She goes, hold it, come back here, take a look at this in a different way. And vice versa. So the board provides a lot of that, as far as with the school system.
Thank you.
Okay, the next question. What are some ways the board can improve its accessibility to or relationship with the community?
Part of the website is one. It does a pretty good job, but I have found it to be difficult at times to navigate. And making sure that the information that's on there is pertinent and up to date. That's one thing that could be done, is just that communication. I've read through the rules and regulations with the board and trying to see as far as on the communication, even in the board meetings. There's times when you come in and that they're having a board meeting. You might have a general idea about what's being discussed. And it's like when you walk into the board meeting, just something as simple as having an agenda that's easily seen, picked up. There's been times I walk into the board meeting and I don't like that. And then I'm in total disarray as far as on what's being discussed. I don't know if I'm going to do a public comment. I'm a little bit hesitant to fill one out ahead of time if I don't know what I'm talking about, and then be called on it. I guess I could just say, yeah, no, I don't want to talk, if I would sign one ahead of time. But there seems to be some barriers to communication there that I would love to see if there's a way of working into a more open communication. And whether that be an earlier posting online of the agenda and a more detailed description of what's going on. Because the agenda is abbreviated, you don't always necessarily know. I've attended board meetings where they say on item number, whatever the number is, and then it's called to a vote. And it's like, well, what was that? I wouldn't be able to have a comment on that, whether I wanted to or not, by not knowing the background. So maybe I haven't seen minutes from the meeting you had 2 weeks before the board meeting. So I don't know if that information is out there quite as well. Again, in looking at the website, not seeing it. But the communication to me is something that we could improve on.
Thank you.
Mr. Falk, tell us about the best attribute you bring to the board.
As far as on that, I'm an architect. In school, they taught us, what they told us, we're not teaching you how to be an architect. What we're teaching you to do is how to look at things differently. They destroyed, the very first project we did, they destroyed our idea of what an architect was. And I had to design a bug that sucked surface chaff off of a tree. So when we graduated, what they told us is, what you've been taught is how to look at a problem, how to come up with solutions. And they're not a set of solutions or a set process of doing that. It's how you look at those. And I think that's a great asset for the board, is the fact that I look at things differently. And whether that be in the built environment or anything else out there, it's an attitude of anything can be tweaked. And how do you look at that? How is it going to affect this student, or how is it going to affect that student? How is it going to affect teachers? How is it going to affect staff? Is there a way of doing this differently that we can improve, that we can do that? It's not a tried and necessarily a tried and true method. Let's take a look at this, and I think that's the biggest asset, is being able to look at things from a different perspective. And plus, in addition to that, is the type of experience I've had. The letter I outlined a lot of my experience within the campus. And I think that involvement also gives me a lot of insight as far as what the community is looking for from the work.
Thank you.
What's your vision for education in the community?
I would like us to continue on what we're doing, but make improvements where we can. I would love to see a further development of tech programs. I'm personally involved with the Supported Student Builders. On that, I would like to take that program and expand it. I would like to see that program done up to where not only do we have kids going out in the field and building this house, I would like to get the marketing department involved in it to help sell the house. I think we still have that interior design class at the school. I would like to get that interior design class to come in and help with the interior design of the house. I would like the kids that are in the computer. We have an architectural CAD program or an architectural design program. Most of their design work is engineering work. It's not architectural. Why can't we have those kids design the house that we're doing? And I would love to bring in people that would help, and that's just one program. But think of how much we can get out of that. We can have the kids help, sell it, market it, promote it, design it, decorate it, and all those things are currently doing in different passions. But here we can give them a real life situation. And I would love to expand that. And even though I'm the president of that board right now, I'm not quite sure how to work that in. And I'm hoping that by being on the board, I can get some of that insight, bring some of that insight into where we can help develop that program and other tech I would like to make sure that for our other kids, our college-bound kids, that we have all of the facilities necessary for them. I want the latest, the greatest technological advances so we can do research in all classes. My daughter's class was great. They got 4 doctors out of it, out of one graduating class. I'd like to see that every year. You know, and what can we do to encourage those things? And it's not just those kids too, but it's also the band kids. What can we do better for the band kids? I mean, I'm just looking at all the different things. We have great programs, but everything can be looked at and improved or adjusted and make it more inclusive. And that's really what I want to pursue.
Thank you.
How can a board know if its goals are being accomplished and its policies successfully implemented?
I think one way to do that is to get out within the community, get out among your employees. And that's not just at the superintendent's office, but I can remember growing up that I was the school board members coming through my school. And it wasn't Buffalo, it was over Boston, Indiana, a small school. And you knew most everybody in town anyway. But by getting out in the community, getting out into the schools and being able to listen to people, and yes, sometimes you get nothing but breaks. But by the same token, you can also find out what you're doing right. You know, what people are expecting to see. And that means you have to be open to that. And if you, I think it's just that being out there, whether, and again, it's a communication issue, is, you know, how can we better communicate with everybody? But the main thing, one of the things I really think the board could benefit from is to get out into the different programs. You know, I would like to try to attend as many things as possible, and not just the football game or the basketball game. I would love to go to band competitions. I would love to go to, you know, if we still had a science fair, I would love to see a science fair. That's something else I would really like to see come back, is some of the different things we can do that offer opportunities. My kids, I forget it was Lauren or Ross. One of them was the first person that won the state from Indiana in the science fair. And well, my son got the best engineering project from, you know, 6th grade to 12th grade. And that's from the background of Keith Portage. And if there are other things that we can encourage the kids to take part in, I think that's very important to get into. And be able to communicate out in the community. Did you know that there's scholarships available? You can win this, you can get a scholarship. Letting the people know that there's those things that are out there. Again, back to communication. And communication is just so important.
Mr. Falk, can you talk about some of the current challenges facing education in school districts?
Well, COVID's a big, you know, gorilla sitting in the room. And so let's address that first. If we were going to be having classes, the actual classes in the classrooms, and we're trying to social distance, we have to admit that the school is not set up for doing that. And how do we look at that? It's like my wife's classroom. She doesn't have individual tables or desks. She's got 4 people pick tables. And how do you face everybody in the same direction? And we were talking about that before this meeting. It's like, how are we going to set up your room? Because I always go in and overset the room. It's like, you know, we can't do this. So there's all sorts of things from just basic in COVID on how we can do things and what we can do to get the school back for it in the future, going on into the future. How can we design the things we do to the school to take into account some of these unforeseen circumstances that we might not have done? might not quite understand, but it's kind of like when we were designing the police station and the request came up, well, what are we going to do to protect the officers in the building? We've never had a problem. I heard comments, we've never had a problem with anybody assaulting the police station. No, we haven't. But in case, what do we do in this situation? And we addressed it. Maybe it wasn't quite as far as we could have gone, but within the budget constraints that we experienced, we did improvements in the building that helped it. How do we make those improvements in the building? You want to repeat the question again?
Can you talk about some of the current challenges facing education in school districts?
Financial, big time. What can we do to improve the financial situation for Portage Township schools? I think we have to take a look at how we spend the money, where we spend the money, and how we get the money. There is, due to the current politics of government, public school is being punched in many ways. And what can we do to help fight that in order to get some of that funding that is being diverted in other locations? It's a very sad statement on what's going on in many ways, in my opinion. I'm a big proponent of public school. At least I should be. And to me, that funding issue is one of the biggest things that we have to take a look at. And how do we address it? And there might be things that some people might not like to hear, but yeah, I think it's the board's responsibility to take a look at some of those things.
Thank you.
So those are the 8 questions, prepared questions, and I'll give you an opportunity now if there's anything that you would want to add to wrap up your interview.
First of all, thank you for having the interview. And thank you for your time. In particular, Trustee Finley, Trustee Williams, thank you for when I was asking about information on how to get the information in, that you provided the evidence for that. I appreciate that very much. I have a long-term commitment to Portage school system. That is my children, my wife, and even just my past involvement. I have strived to be a participant within the community throughout the time that I've been up here. And whether that be through, a lot of it was through my kids, being coaches, mentors, coming in, speaking, reading classes, just being support for a lot of that. I think this is the next stage, and I'm going to continue doing those things. I'm probably not going to be on the soccer field coaching soccer anymore. Sorry, this is not going to happen. But there are other ways that I feel that the participation within the community, it has really given me a lot of good insight as to what Portage is looking for, what Portage needs, how we have great kids. And sometimes we get a rap from surrounding communities that, oh, look, it's just Portage. I'll put the education I've seen, in particular with my own kids, because that's my best experience, but my nieces that have also been through the Portage school system. My oldest niece, my brother's oldest daughter, she's an engineer out in Arizona. And she graduated from Portage. Now, my other 2 nieces wound up going elsewhere, but they got their basis in Portage. And Portage puts out an excellent product, and that product is our students. And I want to continue working with the board, with the school system, with the parents, with the students, everybody involved, in order to get that and keep that and make it better. I want Portage to be the premier school in Northwest Indiana. I don't want to hear that we're rated behind somebody else. I want to get our system to be the very best. And I will work very hard to do that.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you
Thank
being
Mr.
here.
Paul.
Okay, next we have Ms. Wilkie, if you would please. The same questions, the same order, so we'll begin, Trustee Williams.
Ms. Wilkie, thanks for being here. What do you see as the board's role in the day-to-day operations of the schools?
In the day-to-day operations, I believe that is the responsibility of the superintendent. I believe the board's responsibilities are helping to approve the budget, oversee the budget, and hire the superintendent.
Thank you.
Can you tell us something about PTS, that PTS does particularly well, and maybe something that PTS needs to improve on?
I think Portage Township Schools academically does very well. Something I think they can work on is their athletic programs.
What do you see as the primary role of the board?
Setting and overseeing the budget and hiring the superintendent. And supporting her in her duties.
What are some ways the board can improve its accessibility to or relationship with the community?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Absolutely. What are some ways the board can improve its accessibility to or relationship with the community?
I believe the board does a very good job with all of the meetings being live streamed, and the website puts out a lot of good information. I think they do a good job with that.
Thank you.
Tell us about the best attribute you would bring to the board.
I've had experience working with budgets. I've been an employee of the city for over 8 years now. I'm also a member of the township board in which we. I also have 3 students in the school system currently, and I have one that already graduated from the school system. So I'm very passionate about our school system.
What's your vision for education in the community?
My vision for the future, I would like to see more technical programs and vocational programs, keeping up with the trends of future demands of jobs and catering our education in that direction of what's going on in our community and in our area.
My question is, how can the board know if its goals are being accomplished and its policies successfully implemented?
I believe staying in good communication with the superintendent is imperative. Setting goals and checking in with superintendent with reports to make sure those goals are being achieved on a regular basis.
Ms. Wilkie, can you talk about some of the current challenges facing education and school districts?
Definitely the coronavirus has been a huge challenge. I know that from a park standpoint, that's been a huge challenge for us, closing down business, following governor's orders on how to reopen, and dealing with everything that goes along with that has been quite challenging. So I know that's a huge challenge for the school system as well.
Thank you.
Okay, those are the 8 questions. Is there anything else you'd like to add, to share with the board?
I'm a compassionate, loyal, person with a huge, I love my community. I would be absolutely honored to be able to serve on this board. My 3 children that are still in the school system, my oldest is a senior and my youngest is 7 years old. So I'm going to be around in the school system for a while. And I would love to be a part and helping Spirit to stay in the right direction in future years.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, so that concludes our interview. So everyone knows, we will reconvene back here on Wednesday, the 15th at 5 p.m. And at that time, I will entertain nominations from the board and hopefully be selecting a new board member. Just as a matter of rule, in the event of a tie, what would that process be, Mr. Elwood?
So in the event of a tie, or if we don't fill the position by August 11th, then I would be required to petition the circuit court to make the selection and break the tie. We've been through that process once before, so that's the process. And then I think once requested, the circuit court has 30 days to fill it from there.
Okay. All right, so does everyone have the information that they need? They can go home and think about that. We'll reconvene again on Wednesday at 5 p.m. So thank you both for being here. We do appreciate your interest in serving on this board. Thank you. This meeting's adjourned.